Here we go. Yes, that was embarrassing.
We certainly do need to improve trust and confidence. It's never been worse, Mr. Mayor. But crime has been increasing in London, and it's reached over 1 million in the year ending June 2023. That's £1 million of recorded, 1 million recorded crimes. Do you think, therefore, a different approach is required?
And you do need to own up to the mistakes that have been made and take responsibility. You are the mayor. The GLA funds are invested in your behalf, and responsibility does lie with you. So, for example, there's been serious error of judgments when it comes to London's Solar Together scheme. Many Londoners will have opted into the scheme because of your backing as the Mayor of London. They trusted you. Around 1,000 customers now find themselves in a state of limbo, having paid hundreds of pounds in deposits for work that they have not had completed. Now, will you now apologise for those Londoners affected by this failure and guarantee that all customers will receive their deposits back, even if that means reimbursing them directly?
So, Chair, the question was about the Mayor's Energy Efficiency Fund, and the member was disappointed. It's been a success and no loss of money to the taxpayer. We've now moved on to a separate scheme, not funded by the Mayor's Energy Efficient Fund, but funded by people joining together to buy their solar panels using economies of scale. I apologise at the last Mayor's question time in answer to a question raised by Sean Berry about the huge inconvenience and distress caused to those customer. I'll be later on given an update in answer to a further question from a member of the Assembly about the work that's being done. But I'm sorry that all those who want to do the right thing and get solar panels have been let down by Get UK. We from City Hall have been working closely with iChooser. More than 150 public authorities across the country, including Lib Dem ones, who I'm sure the member will equally criticise, have had their customers, their constituents let down. We're doing more than any other public authority across the country to support our customers.
The fact is, though, people were trusting your badge as the Mayor of London to choose this initiative, and there's been 385 complaints against Get UK in phase 4 of the scheme. For some reason, it was again selected by the GLA to take part in this latest phase, and 139 refunds have been verified by the GLA, and too many customers now find themselves with incomplete installations. And they trusted you, Mr. Mayor, because you put your name to this. Given these poor investments, why should Londoners trust the Labour Mayor of London on future environmental initiatives?
Let me try and finish this answer. So it's not the Mayor that chooses the subcontractor that iChooser engage with anywhere across the country. No public authority chooses the subcontractor iChooser engages with. The contracts between the GLA and iChooser, we are disappointed with Get UK, who are only used in phase 4 and phase 5. In phase 5, there were other subcontractors who've been able to take over the work. In phase 4, there weren't. There were a small number of people who have been inconvenienced. I've apologised.
Will they get their money back? Let's just have the answer to that. Yes or no?
Well, there are negotiations with iChooser. I'm sure what she wouldn't like to do is to jeopardise those negotiations by expressing publicly without prejudice conversations taking place. We have organised, though, for a private briefing tomorrow for members of the Assembly in a closed session, so members are aware of the latest update in the negotiations. Because
to install ultra-rapid charging points.
The member won't do the pilot, look at the evidence, and if it works positively, scale it up.
Yeah, I'm not convinced any of the research shows that it does disincentivize people. That's sometimes quoted from Finland, but that wasn't even the criteria they were looking at, and I think at best it just looked like it was neutral. But moving on to more positive news, I'm delighted to hear you mention Grange Big Local in East Finchley. I think this is a really exciting moment where a group of Londoners are coming together to make this happen on their own, but this doesn't exist in a vacuum. I think there's millions of ordinary Londoners who are just sick of the situation that's happening and looking for different answers. Now, the findings of this pilot will be so valuable in driving forward this whole conversation around UBI and potentially starting London on a path to becoming a fairer city with less poverty. In fact, I think the research you commissioned showed it could lift 160,000 Londoners out of poverty. So will you take this opportunity to publicly lend support to Grange Big Local?
For the sake of completeness, in the Finland story, the government chose in Finland not to continue with the pilot or to scale it up, which in itself speaks volumes. Other pilots have been done which have been finished and not been scaled up, so that's why it's really important to look at the evidence. My team's meeting Grange Big Local, I think today,
Yeah.
So once the officers have met with Grange, big local.
Boosters. Is that right? Is that what do you believe it's right that the wedding cake, which was a small feature of advertising the play, was banned?
So at a previous Mayor's Question Time, Chair, TfL was criticised for failing to enforce its policies on foods high in fat, sugar and salt, wrongly by the way, because it was council bus stops, not TfL bus stops. So now TfL's been criticised for enforcing its policy. What brands are supposed to do, and what most brands do, is confirm their advertising complies before they print their posters. It's stipulated by TfL's media partners in booking confirmation. If this particular theatre decided to print the adverts before they'd got confirmation, that's clearly an issue for them as the client. TfL's quite clear in relation to its policies, and everyone else for the last few years appears to be following that. I'm obviously sorry for any finances lost by this theatre company. I'd suggest they speak to the company they used to make sure next time they get compliance confirmed before printing posters.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. It just seems strange to me, and I'm sure you'd agree, that on my way here, I at Royal Victoria saw an advert for a Subway sandwich. Other sandwich providers are available. Past Lola's cupcakes in the station, other cake providers are available. And yet a theatre play is being attacked. Now, I've been on the tube often feeling peckish. I've never felt like I would like to devour a wedding cake. I've never seen an advert and thought, actually, I think I'll stop off and buy myself a wedding cake. Do you not see that this seems totally bizarre and against the principles of trying to promote culture in London?
Well, no theatre play is being attacked. In fact, I've been criticised by members on her side for promoting culture in our city. The good news is, notwithstanding that, London is back. Theatres are busy, live music is busy, tourists are back. TfL's policy has been well known for some years now, and I think the Assembly member and her team deserve credit for getting...
Landlords Association talking about how landlords are passing on the cost of their increased mortgages directly to their tenants. So Londoners are seeing between 10 to 25, 30% increases in their rents. And so I'm really worried that although we might see Section 21, what we don't have is a closing of the loophole where tenants are not evicted by stealth. Sometimes that is not intentional on the part of the landlords, but that is definitely a concern. So I don't know what you think about whether or not the government has properly considered this in the bill, the preemptive evictions as a result of increasing uncapped rents.
Well, this is just one of the many consequences of Liz Truss's mini-budget last year that we're seeing taking place across London, the misery caused to families. And you're right, there is a concern, particularly when we hear today that the King's speech may take place, which means that the bill that was published recently may not actually pass and become legislation, unless it becomes a bill that's carried over. That there's a loophole, which is that landlords will, before Section 21 is got rid of, and they will then require a reason to evict, are evicting in advance of that loophole of Section 21 being closed. What we're saying to the government is, and Tom Copley's been lobbying the government, is there should be an implementation timescale and a clear message being sent to landlords and tenants about what is acceptable and what isn't. But it is a concern, particularly if the bill that's been published doesn't make progress in September, October, and there is a King's Speech.
From North London to Croydon, I know of one family where there are 2 children in exam years and they're looking at a 3-hour journey every day just to attend school, and local authorities are really struggling to find properties in which they can place local people. And this means that our most financially vulnerable Londoners are scrabbling for often what is the poorest quality housing stock. Has the GLA done any calculation on what uplift is needed to remedy this and actually change the situation?
Yeah. Chair, can I just say a number of colleagues' microphones there is an issue.
We are aware that there is. I think we got what you said.
I heard the question, but people may not have held it. But I can't have the same problem. Yeah.
There is an issue that we're aware of, and it's related to Wi-Fi.
Okay.
For the interest, but we are attending to it.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for the question. So we have looked into this issue. We are concerned at the number of Londoners who rely on LHA to cover their housing costs, who are struggling because there are fewer properties where the rent can be fully covered by the level set on the LHA. A number I saw was the number of properties available has gone from 23% to 5%, which means a number of things. Like I said in answer to the question from Sem Moema, that a number of families are living in overcrowded accommodation because it's cheaper rent rather than staying in a property the size of your family. You gave another example, people living further away from when their community ties are, because it's the only property they can afford, children travelling 3 hours to and from school when they should be revising and so forth. And that's one of the reasons why the government needs to step up and just increase to the median level of 50% will make a transformative difference to these families.
And can I ask, what specific actions have you taken, perhaps?
Every secondary school in London to help recognise and tackle sexist and misogynistic behaviour. The MPS published earlier this week its new Met for London plan. This sets out, among other reform priorities, how neighbourhood policing will be strengthened, including by working more closely with communities and partners to address their local concerns. This will be a vital aspect of improving the confidence our communities have in their police, and therefore restoring the principle of policing by consent. Officials are working at pace to deliver Baroness Casey's recommendation to create a new London Policing Board. I'll chair this and publicly oversee and scrutinise MPS delivery of its new plan and the Police and Crime Plan to ensure we maintain a relentless focus on reducing crime and improving trust and confidence amongst London's diverse communities.
Thank you.